My name's Dwayne Parkinson from Medford, Wisconsin. My wife and I pulled our kids out of school today, took the trip down here 3.5 hours, so I could have a few minutes to speak in favor of this legislation. It's that important. In my daily life, I'm a solution architect. I help organizations solve complex problems using technology. The first step in the process is you identify problems, and then you define the scope of the problems, make a plan to fix the problems, and execute that plan. And today I'm just here to do my job. See, this legislation identifies some issues, some problems, but it doesn't define the scope of these problems. How do we know that these issues deserve our attention unless we can agree that the scope is big enough? So, let's give it a try. I got this hot dog at a gas station for $1. Since it's after lunch, I think I'm the most powerful man in the room right now.
I was going to say, you better watch it.
Our national debt is $23 trillion. Every gas station in America, each and every one, would have to sell 137 million hot dogs to equal our debt. That's kind of hard to imagine, isn't it? Let's try again. If we line these hot dogs up and end, 23 trillion of them, we can lay them out to Mars and back 31 times. See, the problem with the debt is it's just too big. We can't even wrap our head around it anymore. So let's take a different approach. A $23 trillion debt is 310,800 hot dogs for every single kid under 18 in America. That's 31,000 pounds of hot dogs each, including vegetarians. And that happens to be the exact same weight, 31,000 pounds, as a John Deere 700K bulldozer. So finally we can visualize this problem. Every single kid in America is walking around with a big yellow construction bulldozer worth of hot dogs on their backs. The scope of this problem is huge. Hot dogs aside, if we do nothing, we will crush our kids under the weight of this debt. As someone who makes a living solving problems, the obvious question to me is, why haven't we solved this problem? We can do basic math. In my work experience, some people are afraid to tackle really big problems. They think that if they tinker with them, something might go wrong, they'll get blamed. Things might get worse. So the safest thing to do is nothing. Just live with it. But we've got to be the adults in the room here. If we take that approach and we kick this down the road, we know it only gets worse. And we'll only have ourselves to blame. So why not solve this problem? Maybe we don't trust ourselves or the other states. Can we actually execute the plan that was laid out by the Founding Fathers for just such an occasion? Or maybe we don't trust that plan. After all, none of us has ever seen a convention of states. Well, in the technology field, you can't be an expert in everything. We defer to experts all the time. The Founding Fathers were experts on the topic of a convention of states. It was their normal way of governing before we had the Constitution. We should defer to those experts. They gave us this tool for a reason. They expected, yes, expected, the states would rein in the very government they were creating if it ever got out of control. This legislation simply approves a process for some people to make some proposals about some things. It isn't scary. You authorize the process, you approve the changes, and you hold the power. So on one hand, we have an unfamiliar process that you control, which tackles the problem. What's on the other hand? Fear, uncertainty, doubt, a checklist of concerns, some real, some imagined. But what else? An out-of-control, $23 trillion debt that grows by $1 million every 33 seconds, $10 million in the time it'll take me to talk to you. Career politicians gaming the system and magically becoming very wealthy while in office. A federal government that has put itself in charge and uses our taxes as incentives to ensure states must comply with their whims. Over 27%, I guess 40% of Wisconsin budget now comes from this increasingly powerful, far-reaching federal government. The federal government created this. They haven't fixed it. They've proven they want to expand it. They have no intention to ever fix it. What we have in this hand are the reasons democracies fail. This is what we should fear the most. You are no different than the Founding Fathers. You hold the same positions they held. You have the same authority they did. They weren't a bunch of mystical gurus in some far-off land. They were people from the states who fought to make things better. Is it impossible to imagine the states banding together now to reclaim the republic that they created? Because if not now, then when? Is it impossible to imagine bold state legislators signing this resolution to change the course of history for the better? And if not through this legislation, then how? Our founding fathers changed history, and now it's our turn. Because truly, if not us, then who? We have to fight for our republic. If we don't fight now, we will sit idly by and watch absolutely powerless as our kids get buried in hot dogs. I encourage you to be bold. Use the power the Founding Fathers gave you and expected you to use. Choose to change history for the better. Thank you.